Number 2, we've got to deal with insurance abuses that affect millions of Americans who've got health insurance. And number 3, we've got to make health insurance more available to folks in the individual market. As I just mentioned, in California, who are suddenly seeing their premiums go up 39%. That applies to the majority of small businesses, as well as sole proprietors. They are struggling. So I've got these goals. Now, we have a package, as we work through the differences between the House and the Senate. And we'll put it up on a website for all to see over a long period of time, that meets those criteria, meets those goals. But when I was in Baltimore talking to the House Republicans, they indicated we can accomplish some of these goals at no cost. And I said, great, let me see it. And I have no interest in doing something that's more expensive. And harder to accomplish if somebody else has an easier way to do it. So I'm going to be starting from scratch in the sense that I will be open to any ideas that help promote these goals. What I will not do, what I don't think makes sense and I don't think the American people want to see. Would be another year of partisan wrangling around these issues, another 6 months or 8 months or 9 months. Worth of hearings in every single committee in the House and the Senate in which there's a lot of posturing. Let's get the relevant parties together, let's put the best ideas on the table. My hope is that we can find enough overlap that we can say this is the right way to move forward. Even if I don't get every single thing that I want. but here's the point that I made to John Boehner and Mitch McConnell. Bipartisanship can't be that I agree to all the things that they believe in or want. And they agree to none of the things I believe in and want, and that's the price of bipartisanship, right? But that's sometimes the way it gets presented. Mitch McConnell said something very nice in the meeting about how he supports our goals. On nuclear energy and clean coal technology and more drilling to increase oil production. Well, of course he likes that, that's part of the Republican agenda for energy, which I accept. And I'm willing to move off some of the preferences of my party in order to meet them halfway. But there's got to be some give from their side as well. That's true on healthcare, that's true on energy, that's true on financial reform. That's what I'm hoping gets accomplished at the summit. Question: do you agree the House and Senate bill can't pass anymore? President Obama, what I agree with is that the public has soured on the process that they saw over the last year. I think that actually contaminates how they view the substance of the bills. I think it is important for all of these issues to be aired so that people have confidence if we're moving forward on such a significant part of the economy as healthcare. That there is complete transparency and all of these issues have been adequately vetted and adequately debated. And this gives an opportunity not just for Democrats to say here's what we think we should do. But it also gives Republicans a showcase before the entire country to say here's our plan, here's why we think this will work. And one of the things that John Boehner and Mitch McConnell both said is they didn't think that the status quo was acceptable, and that's, right there, promising. That indicates that if all sides agree that we can't just continue. With business as usual, then maybe we can actually get something done. Question, Mr. President, one of the reasons Anthem said Anthem Blue Cross says that it's raising its premiums. Is because so many people are dropping out of individual coverage because the economy is so. Bad, and that leaves the people in the pool who are people who need medical care driving up costs. One of the reasons why businesses are not expanding right now, in addition to some of the credit issues you've talked about. At least according to business leaders. Is they say there's an uncertainty of what they need to plan for because of the energy bill, because of health care. That's what they say. I'm not saying it's true or not. But that's what they say. What do you say when you hear that? President Obama, well, I think that the biggest uncertainty has been we just went through. The worst recession since the Great Depression, and people weren't sure whether the financial system was going to melt down and whether we were going to tip into an endless recession. So let's be clear about the sources of uncertainty in terms of business investment over the last several years. A huge contraction, trillions of dollars of losses in people's 401(k)s, people have a lot of debt coming out. Of the previous decade that they still haven't worked out, the housing market losing a whole bunch of value. So the good news is that where we were contracting by 6%, the economy is now growing by 6%. The CEOs I talk to are saying they are now making investments. And I anticipate that they're going to start hiring at a more rapid clip. What I've also heard is them saying that we would like to feel. Like Washington is working and able to get some things done. There are two ways of interpreting the issue of uncertainty. One way would be to say, well, you know what? We'll just go back to what we were doing before on, let's say, the financial markets. We won't have the regulations that we need. We won't make any changes in terms of too big to fail. That will provide certainty. Until the next financial crisis. That's not the kind of certainty I think that the financial markets need. The kind of certainty they need is for us to go ahead and agree on a bipartisan effort to put some rules of the road in place so that consumers are protected in the financial markets. So that we don't have banks that are too big to fail, that we have ways of winding them down. And protecting the overall system without taxpayer bailouts. That requires legislation. The sooner we can get that done, the better. The same would be true when it comes to healthcare. A lot of CEOs I hear from will say, boy, we'd like you to get healthcare settled one way or another. But they will acknowledge that when they open up their latest invoice for their premiums and they find out that those premiums have gone up 20% or 25%, that's the kind of uncertainty that also tamps down business investment. So I guess my answer would be this: the sooner the business community has a sense that we've got our act together here in Washington and can move forward on big, serious issues in a substantive way without a lot of posturing and partisan wrangling, I think the better off the entire country is going to be. I absolutely agree on that. What I think is important is not to buy into this notion that is perpetrated by some of the business interests that got a stake in this who are fighting financial reform. For example, to say, boy, we'd be doing fine if we just didn't try to regulate the banks. That I think would be a mistake. Question, just to play devil's advocate on that: a small business, let's say, not somebody who's going to be affected by the regulatory reform, small business you have proposed, you would acknowledge, a bold agenda. And a small business might wonder, I don't know how the energy bill is going to affect me. I don't know how the healthcare reform bill is going to affect me, I'd better hold off on hiring. President Obama, the small businesses I talk to, and I've been talking to a lot of them. As I've been traveling around the country over the last several months, their biggest problem is right now they can't get credit out of their banks, so they're uncertain about that. And they're still uncertain about orders. Do they just have enough customers to justify them doing more? It's looking better at this point. But that's not the rationale for people saying, I'm not hiring. Let me put it this way. Most small businesses right now. If they've got enough customers to make a profit and they can get the bank loans required to boost their payroll. Boost their inventory, and sell to those customers, they will do so. Okay. Let's see, let's get a print guy here. David. Question, you heard McConnell talk about nuclear power, offshore drilling. Free trade, that's a lot of Republican stuff. Is your party going to go for that if you decide to support that? President Obama, you know, I think that on energy there should be a bipartisan agreement that we have to take a both/and approach rather than an either/or approach. What do I mean by that? I am very firm in my conviction that the country that leads the way in clean energy solar. Wind, biodiesel, geothermal, that country is going to win the race in the 21st century global economy. So we have to move in that direction. What is also true is that given our energy needs in order to continue economic growth, produce jobs, make sure our businesses are competitive around the world, that we're going to need some of the old traditional energy sources as we're developing these new ones and ramping them up. So we can't overnight convert to an all-solar or an all-wind economy. That just can't happen. We're going to have needs in these traditional sources. And so the question then is, are we going to be able to put together a package that includes safe, secure nuclear power? That includes new technologies so that we can use coal, which we have in abundance and is very cheap. But often is adding to our greenhouse gases. Can we find sequestration technologies that clean that up? Can we identify opportunities to increase our oil and natural gas production in a way that is environmentally sustainable? And that should be part of a package with our development of clean energy.